is starting.
Hello, fam. What up? Is it started yet?
I think so.
Okay.
We're currently going
Ah,
live. In the
here
process
we
of
are.
going live.
I see. I see. I'm gonna do a thumbs up just so that way the people that come in, they'll be like, oh, it's already been thumbs up. So must be good content, right?
Yeah.
Then they thumbs it up.
He also said that these long pieces of content are potentially ruining our channel in terms of the algorithm because
Oh, you mean the
the
streams?
yeah, because they have low watch time overall.
No, maybe, but I'm confident enough in the like YouTube devs that they would take that into account. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like
I also think like live stream VODs are slightly different content and would probably be sorted as such.
exactly, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I doubt that YouTube was like, oh, let's dissuade people from using our new live streaming platform. Like they want it to
Right.
grow, right? So I don't think that would affect. At least that's my feelings. Maybe that's not actually true.
You know what else is kind of nuts is that um when we stream on our channel, like when I was casting your game with Henry, we were the #1 Dota channel that was live at that time. We had 600 people watching,
Yeah, that's really cool. That's
and
really cool.
YouTube is like one development away from probably taking over Twitch as the best platform for streaming games. Like all they really need to do is implement a clipping system, because if they can
Yeah,
do that, then all the like normally when you look at like a subreddit or something like that, it's always just like, Twitch clip, Twitch clip, Twitch clip, Twitch clip, right? And if those were
true.
all YouTube clips that linked directly to the YouTube channel and ran through the YouTube algorithm and their AdSense process, you could just absolutely explode a channel through clipping and make a lot more money than Twitch lets you make. So
That's true, dude. You should work for YouTube. That's a good idea.
yeah,
That's a Dota 2 Live. Are you an actual channel? Can I click on a chatter and see? Go to channel. I can. Dota 2 Live. This channel doesn't have any content.
well,
Dota 2 Live. Are you planning on being a Dota 2 channel,
because
or
if you are, we'll tell you don't.
don't
'Cause
don't do it? Quit YouTube. Quit Dota. Quit gaming. Go to the gym. Take a run. So sad to see Jenkins' team have to forfeit games. They looked really good. I thought they could beat J-Storm. Hopefully, they all good. Well, you see, the thing is, we're not really a team. We're just a group of friends, and we had one guy that, well, I don't exactly know what was going on with him, but he basically said he didn't want to play the qualifiers. I think he's like a younger guy, and he's got some family that doesn't want him to play video games during the day, very strict, so he couldn't play. And then our position four is a biomedical engineer, so he had to work, and they wouldn't reschedule for us at all.
Oh
They
no.
wouldn't reschedule. They only allowed one stand-in, so it's like, I don't blame them. I totally understand that they sometimes can't reschedule. You want to give teams games in between that they can take breaks.
Sure.
So I get it. Dream League is actually one of the best orgs for like making these tournaments. Like nobody ever has any complaints about Dream League for the most part. But with that being said, I think it's just the state of tier 2 Dota. Like you can't sustainably do this. I can't like you're confused between Jenkins and Speed. Do we look the same? Is it that we're both just white? I feel like we don't look similar at all.
I mean, you are so white that I can't even tell the difference between you and your shirt right now. I'm not really sure where the neck ends and where the shirt begins, but that's besides the point.
It's true. That is true. Oh, I'm invited. I got invited.
Got invited for what? A stack?
Yeah, dude, it feels good to get invited to stacks. I haven't been getting invited to stacks lately. I don't know why.
Even though your MMR is going up, huh?
Uh, yeah. I don't
Turns
know.
out that MMR is just a number and doesn't actually mean anything.
No. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. Because I think stacks do actually invite you based on MMR a lot of the time because they want people who are.
Low.
It depends. Like
Smurf-esque.
if somebody's like winning a lot, you want to get them like on an upswing so you can like use that upswing.
Sure.
Um, But if somebody's on like a downswing, there's strategies. Like if somebody's on a downswing, you can like catch them as they're about to go up again, and then you gain a lot of MMR. Like Sammy Boy, for example, he tanked down to like rank 120 from like rank 50 or something, which is 500, 600 MMR. But now he's back up to rank 50, right? So if you're dual queuing with him on his like on his
upswing, yeah.
upswing, you're getting a bunch of free MMR because this guy's like, maybe he's not a top 10 player or something, but he's definitely a rank 50 player. And if he's ranked 120, that's some value right there. So
it's like buying and selling penny stocks, dude.
Yeah, it depends.
That's
It really depends. You want to know how? So I apexed at about like 7,725 MMR, and you know how I did it? I've been very selective about when I queue, who I queue with. Obviously love my girlfriend to death. She means the world to me, but I haven't been queuing with her because it's a little hard to win when you're given. So basically, like I'll queue and I'll get against like Sumail and like Demon or something, and then it's just me and my girlfriend. And if you compare the supports, the Demon versus my girlfriend, me versus Sumail, obviously we're better.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. We're way worse. It's so fucking hard.
But only at Dota, you're way better at
being sexy.
Exactly.
Yep. That's accurate. But you know what I'm saying? Like you have to game. You have to game who you're playing with.
Yeah,
like
totally.
I don't play with carry players. I do not play with carry players because I believe that is like the worst combination I don't play with 5 players either because
that doesn't make any sense, right? Like,
they're not in my lane, right?
You guys are like exact opposite types of position at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, so I play with mid because it's 2 cores. You both have a lot of control over the game. And you could play together too. You can play like 4 with mid too because the 4 can gank mid. You can play the 5 with carry. That's like a really good combination.
Right.
But I don't think you ever want to queue like 4 carry or 5 offlane. I think that's like some of the worst. Or carry and offlane because then you have 2 supports you don't know.
Right.
It's leaving a lot up to like randomness. That's
totally.
it's not good.
Hey, that's a good tip for you guys who tuned in early to the stream before we start the Alchemy Answers episode. Look at that. How to game the system to gain MMR by parties.
100% gaming it. 100%.
Dude, that's part of the thing, right? Like, look at Ray's hero pool. The dude is like, he's probably gained like 700 MMR in the last month from just playing OD. And that's literally the only hero he plays every single time I see him in a top game. It's just OD. At least until recently.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot with Ray, and we have like an 80% win rate together or something because we queue after midnight and we just queue until like 6 a.m. and we get these ridiculously low rated games. He picks some like Storm Spirit or OD. And, with all due respect to like Divine players and stuff, it's like this guy's a top 10 mid, right? And he's really good at playing these like 1v5 heroes. Right. So he'll just be in a lane versus a Divine player and he'll go like 10-0 and then be, level 18 when everybody else is level 11. And then I just run in as an offlaner and make space for him. So we have this play style combination that works really well, like queuing between those hours in a duo queue stack. Basically,
that's awesome. So, I love that stuff, dude. I love all the little ways that you can kind of eke out a bit of an advantage and stuff like that.
Ritsu and Sumail have been queuing together, and Sumail was saying that basically what they do is he picks a mid that is incredibly like high tempo, and he'll just run around the map making insane amounts of space for Ritsu, and Ritsu picks like a Morphling or like an anti-mage and just farms. It completely ignores the team for like 30 minutes, and then he just 1v5s. And that's how they win. I know Husky and Moo play together. They do. Husky will pick like a high tempo 5. Moo will pick a high tempo carry. They just win the lane and then run around taking all the towers. And everybody's got their own little style.
You guys actually talk about this and you try and like figure it out, right? You're not.
Oh yeah. Right? No. This is like a figured out thing over many games. You're kind of iterating, and after every game, it's like, okay, I shouldn't have picked this or I shouldn't have gone this item because like that's not high tempo enough, or like this guy could do it already, so why am I doing this? Yeah,
Sure.
it's definitely figured out. Can you play Magnus on safe lane, or is it bad? You definitely can play Magnus on safe lane.
Yeah, it's probably
Yes,
better in the mid, but can be
probably.
safe.
Yep. So let's see. When was our last Alchemy Answers?
It was the
Did you
hot.
do one last week?
No. Nope.
26.
Last week was the patch.
Oh, right. Okay. So I guess we should probably go after the patch. So that's 28th. When you play ranked again. Okay, so we'll go from the 28th. We'll go from the 28th because there are some like immediately post patch questions, but they're not really relevant anymore.
Okay.
So I'm good to start whenever you guys are.
Sounds good. All right. Well, welcome, children, to Alchemy Answers, episode 56. Thank you for tuning in and joining us live. If you are not a patron already and you want to ask us questions on these weekly shows, you should potentially check out our Patreon, patreon.com/DotaAlchemy. Or, depending on how many questions we get, you can just go ahead and spam it away in chat for the next 45 minutes, and we might get to it at the end of the show. So, without further ado, Jenkins, let's do this thing.
We actually have we don't have that many questions. I see there are some people typing in the patron chat, but we have like 4 questions. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a very chat oriented episode without a doubt. Okay, first question. So we have Shadow Trader. How do you deal with your teammates not buying a BKB? Of course, including asking them very, very nicely to buy it. Should you just try your best to avoid team fights? Okay, so my opinion on that is that sometimes there are people that refuse to buy BKBs, and avoiding team fights is definitely an okay tactic because eventually they might get it. But I would say the best way to deal with that is to buy defensive items and just use all of those defensive items on that person that's refusing to buy a BKB. Get Lotus Orb, get Pipe, get Solar Crest, Force Staff, Glimmer Cape, these sorts of things. So that way you're kind of making up for their lack of defense by having defense yourself. And a lot of the time, that's actually a good way to play in this patch. A lot of carries are going like Satanic and Sanjin Yasha, skipping BKB entirely, and then just having their other heroes, like their position 5, will buy some save items, some aura items. The offlaner will buy some save items, some aura items. You're kind of grouping up around that one guy who has all of the aggressive items, and then everybody else just builds around like keeping them alive. So I think that's a perfectly fine play style to play, and that's a really good like pivot for when your team is refusing to buy a BKB.
Yeah. There's I think you have to make a little bit of a judgment call because sometimes you just have like the straight glass cannon carry who just desperately needs a BKB because they die every fight. They're showing up for every fight and they're just dying every fight, and you're just like, please, just buy a BKB and we win this game, and they just won't. And if that's the case, then I think you just don't fight with them because there's nothing to do. But that being said, defensive items are drastically underrated in pubs.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that if you are any position other than a carry, even carry, you can buy 1 or 2 more defensive items than you are currently, and you'll probably gain like 1,000 MMR.
Yep. I see a question in chat that I want to address just because I have kind of formulated my opinion on this
Okay.
into something that's a little bit more solid rather than, like after a patch, you just have all these floating ideas in your head. It's kind of like a cloud and none of it really means anything. You kind of think this thing is broken, but it's not because you just haven't seen it in a game yet and so
Sure.
forth. Anyway, somebody said, is travels a core item? Is it a core rush item? And I can tell you that I've been looking at a lot of replays from Dota 2 Pro Tracker over the past couple of days because I felt like after the qualifiers that I wasn't really understanding what heroes were strong in the offlane. Like I said, it was a cloud and I needed to like make it into something solid. And one thing that I noticed is that almost every offlaner is going, as long as you have some sort of creep clear, offlaners are going some small item, and then travels. Some
Mhm.
small item and then travels. Small item and travels. Like on Sand King, people do this. On Leshrac, people do this. On Puck, people do this.
Yep.
On Veno, people do this. On Beastmaster, people do this. It is on almost every offlaner in the current patch, other than like Centaur is one of the few. Tiny, only because he like needs treads. Doom, because
He doesn't
why
have
would you buy
creep
travels
layer.
on Doom? Yeah, he can't kill creeps, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to buy travels on him. And he's kind of broken for other reasons. But a
Right.
lot of these offlaners, and I see that there's also like a lot of offlane questions here. Here's the most broken offlaner right now. A lot of the offlaners that are trending are the ones that are able to buy travels and clear creeps because the outposts are just way too good. They give you way too much. And it is straight up not possible to contest outposts unless you have a Nature's Prophet if the creep waves are pushed past
Yep.
the outpost. And that's why if you have travels, it's broken because you can, number one, you can travels to the outpost and it's not like a 5-second TP like a
It's
regular
short.
TP scroll. So that means you can defend outposts really easily.
Yep.
You can be the guy that TP's in first and then your team's 5-second TP that comes second. Well, that doesn't matter because that would be the regular TP delay anyway, right? So it's just defending an area. But
Yep.
basically, with travels, you push one lane, pass the outpost, TP2 to the other one, and then push that lane past the outpost for the 5-minute mark. And then you have 2 outposts, and then you win Dota. Like, travels are fucking bonkers right now, man.
Yeah, I mean they were already broken, and now with these extra super far apart objectives that you also want to claim, they're just even better than ever. I forget which team it was. It was one of the high level teams. I think it was Fnatic, maybe. They picked a Nature's Prophet, and then they had 4 heroes that went travels, and they all had travels by like 25 or 30 minutes, and it was
I think it's good, man.
unbelievable, dude. They were
I'm telling you,
everywhere.
man. Every game that I get travels, I'm so glad you asked this question because every game that I get travels feels so easy.
Yeah.
It feels so easy. And then every game that I don't have travels, it's like, oh shit, we don't have any outposts, guys. Like, let's go to the outpost. You rush to the outpost, you don't get there in time. And
Yep.
it's like this. So maybe it's just an artifact of like people don't understand the patch yet, and I'm just shitty and playing poorly around the outposts. But I can tell you that anecdotally, it feels really good to get travels right now. And every time I have travels, the game is just easy. So yeah,
Yep.
I love travels. Elliot was asking for an offlane tier list, so I can kind of give you one verbally here.
You
So
gonna make
because I
that
do have
video
it,
tonight, son?
I will. I have it open. The thing is, like, I was gonna record it yesterday and the day before, but I didn't feel like I had a 100% idea
Sure.
on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Like,
why I had Henry on, because I didn't know what the mid tier list should actually look like. It was just
yeah,
like,
no, he would definitely know that because he's been just grinding.
yeah,
Um, but with the offlane, I feel like yeah, I'm just I've been experimenting so much, and I don't know what experiments are working because they're good or just working because like everybody else is experimenting too. Anyway, I'm pretty confident in this list right now as it is because I've worked on it more. My S tier, I have Venomancer, travels, Puck with travels, Doom without travels, just broken item, and then Sand King. These are the 4 S tier offlaners. I think Sand King is broken because he's one of the few heroes that can buy travels and can be played in the off lane that's really strong in the lane and then has some sort of instant disable for that motherfuck void spirit. Like it feels so good to have Sand King versus a lot of the heroes in the current patch. Like I really feel like
sure.
there's so much just broken random nonsense happening right now. Fucking Magnus skewering on a
Oh
2-second
my
cooldown.
god.
Life stealers inside some guys running at 550 move speed. Sometimes you just want to disable the bullshit that the enemy team is doing by literally stunning them and then having the opportunity to kill them. Like
Yep.
that's one. I would say Veno is like hands down the best hero in the patch in the off lane if he had some sort of hard disable,
Mhm.
because I really feel like there's some like new meta. Still, he's S tier because he's
He's
that broken.
so good. He's
But
so
but
good.
like doesn't do anything to Void Spirit,
True.
doesn't do anything to Lycan, doesn't do anything to this stupid Magnus skewering away all the time, right?
Yep.
Still, he's good. So that should give you an idea of how broken he is. That even without hard disable, against all of this stuff that needs hard disable, he's still that good. So if he had some sort of hard disable, like what's even above S tier? He'd be like S plus 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 tier.
Sure.
So Puck, I think that's another reason Puck is really good. The coil counters a lot of these dumb like skewers and anyway, that's my S tier. Puck, Veno, Doom, Sand King. Doom's broken because the new Ags is insane, and the buffs were insane to him. A tier, I have Leshrac with Travels, Tiny going for more of like a right-click build, at least scaling into it. Axe, I think, is really good. The new counter heal exchanges make him insane in laning. Beastmaster with Travels is really good. And then after that, it doesn't really matter. It's basically all the other offlaners. I think there's tons
Right.
of viable offlaners right now. Like Nature's is okay, Bat is okay, Omni's okay, Centaur, Enigma, Abaddon, Lycan. Like there's plenty of just okay shit in the offlane. So yeah, I mean the most broken heroes definitely like the S tier heroes though are so much better than the heroes below them that I almost think that like B and C tier heroes don't even matter.
Like, yeah, you should just never be picking them basically if you don't have to, and you should probably never have to.
Yeah, because this like Puck hero getting Travels is so game winning
Yeah.
that I don't see why you would want to be another hero. Like what would these other heroes offer that Puck doesn't, as well as have the benefits that Puck has in a game? Like having that hero just clear all the waves and get both of the outposts with Travels, it feels so right. You know, it feels like impossible to have a bad game with that hero. So unless you're bored of Puck, I don't see why you would pick anything else.
That's how Veno feels too right now. I've been having so much fun playing Veno offlane. You just go max out Poison Sting, you get max wards, you have infinite vision, like you can just defend your outposts by blocking off the trees with your wards. And then
Yeah.
you just go like one bracer or veil into Travels, and then you show up to wherever there's a fight, plant yourself there, D-push until they try and force it, and then you're a Venomancer, so you just win.
No, Veno's definitely broken. That hero was insane before the patch.
Yep.
And like I think the change to Poison Sting, the HP regen reduction. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a straight buff. They didn't even nerf anything to give him that buff.
Right.
So like, cool, I'm a Veno player. I like that. But if they didn't change anything about Veno, he'd still be broken right now.
Yep.
Because he was already broken before. He's one of the best Travels builders in the game. He can jungle and there's neutral items and you can give core supports lanes now. He's good at defending outposts. He's good at defending towers. He's good at pushing lanes. Like the hero is just total cancer to deal with. And that doesn't, the HP regen reduction has like almost no factor in that.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, let's move on to the next question. Elliot was asking about starting items. I've seen a lot of different replays, variety in replays that I've been watching, especially in the offlane. I think Quelling Blade is like a must for melee heroes. I've seen people go for. I've seen good offlaner. I've seen high level offlaners go like Bassi plus Branch plus Tango, and these people are constantly using the courier in the laning phase. Like I think you should start with bucklers and quelling blades and like wraith band components. Like I think
Yep.
you should go really minimal regen and just constantly use the courier.
Right. Every couple
And
of creeps, just send out another Tango or Salve or something like that.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So like in the original patch, when it came out, I was certain that you needed like more regen in the offlane because couriers were so easy to snipe. And I think it just turns out people weren't using couriers well
Yeah.
because they're so slow, so people weren't used to it. But now when I'm watching like a pro game, you just see like 5 couriers constantly moving, and people just pay attention to where they are, and they go back and they get the items from them
Right.
so that they're not going to get sniped. You just can't use the new couriers like they're the old couriers. That's all.
Yep.
That's all. But every lane is basically the mid lane. So that's how you should consider your starting items. Is you don't really need regen because you can just send a salve out on the bounty runes.
True.
Send a salve tango.
We're like legit going towards the open AI strat right now, which is to come to lane with no regen and just damage so that you can trade and get last hits better, and then just use the couriers constantly to get regen when you need it.
Yeah, I mean, think about how turbo works.
Yeah.
Like people just buy people just buy like items that give you stats, and then they constantly send out salves and things like that.
Yep.
It's like that turbo's been out for a while, and that's like the optimal strat. Even like 2K players know that, playing turbo. They like it's so common that everybody does it in every bracket. It's just send salves and instant healing. So yeah, just do that in real games now, I think, and buy the big items.
Yep.
What is the meaning of tempo? Says Fabio.
I wanted to answer that one as well. And there was another question earlier about somebody asking who how to end a game early because he doesn't like the games going 50 plus minutes, which I can totally agree with. I like to play fast and aggressive. And that really is what tempo is. Tempo, if you think about it, okay, if you think about it in a music term, right, it's the speed at which the beat is going. And so if you speed that up, the music tends to get faster. And just like in Dota, if you are the one setting the tempo, that means that you are making the other team play to your speed, essentially. So if you think about it in hero terms, you've got a hero like Terrorblade or Anti-Mage. What do they have in their abilities that allow you to make the game go faster? Not a whole lot. Terrorblade kind of does, but Anti-Mage is the best example because he just doesn't do anything until he has 2 or 3 items. And so tempo would be something like, like an Ursa, somebody that can literally just run at you from level 1 and put pressure on you from level 1. Abaddon is another great tempo hero. Jakiro, Nature's Prophet, these heroes that not only can they pressure you in lane because they're good laners, but they're also good at taking towers. And then with those tower gold, they can scale into items like Mechanism, which is a tempo item. Pipe is a tempo item. Vlad is a tempo item because they give you these really strong auras to hit a power peak like early on in the game.
When people say a tempo controller, they're usually referring to like a mid laner that likes to run around and just fight constantly. Something like a Puck or a Queen of Pain. And that's basically just because like, well, I mean, these heroes have the capability of roaming and causing the tempo to be sped up in like all of the lanes as opposed to just one of them. Like something like an Abaddon is like an Abaddon is an offlaner, right? So like this is a good tempo hero, but it's not like people wouldn't say like Abaddon is like a tempo controller necessarily.
Right.
Like there are tempo heroes, which are heroes that
progress the game towards winning fast.
Usually when people say this is a tempo hero, they mean this is a fast tempo hero. There's like a hidden word there because like Terrorblade, like Donnie said, could also be considered a tempo hero, but it's a slow tempo hero. But once he hits his timing, he wants to play. He does want to play fast. So then you could say that he's like a tempo hero because he runs at towers. And I would say like the heroes that are like tempo heroes are the fast tempo heroes, and the tempo controlling heroes are heroes that can get active, but they can get active like anywhere on the map really, really quickly. So like Nature's Prophet is a really good one as well.
Yeah,
because like
sorry,
you go.
I was just gonna say the follow-up question that Rahul is asking is, can we go for tempo control support? And the answer is yes. That's like what the 4 was when it was the roaming role, and it's kind of still part of the 4's job. Like a Mirana, a Tusk, an Earth Spirit, these heroes are constantly looking for an opportunity to set up plays.
This is why it's like frustrating when this is something definitely that frustrates me when I get a position for it that just like sits in the lane because it just like only sits in that lane because like or when like a carry doesn't leave the lane, you know, because there are like certain moments in the game where it's like one hero's duty to like make the tempo faster because their hero is like good at that point.
Right.
So like the position 4 is usually like the roaming hero that's like strongest in the laning phase, and it's like your job to like make the game good while you're strong. And then the torch is passed to somebody else, and then it's somebody else's job to make the game not losing in those like moments where you're strong. And like that's how you have a good draft, is you have all these heroes where like, hey, this hero's good at this point, this hero and this hero can combine at this point and be good. And if you have somebody that's not doing that, it's like at that point, like, why are you picking the hero? You know, if like that hero is built to have this strength at this point, it's really frustrating. Like this is
somebody picked an Ursa and went jungle. And
they
were just like farming the jungle at 15 minutes. Like, dude, just run at the other team. They can't fight you.
Gyro. This is frustrating.
Yes.
This hero, and I tweeted about it, so I know that like a lot of people agree with this. This is like a common thought process, I guess, for people, because when I tweeted, it got like 150 or 150 like likes within a couple of days. So like apparently other people are pissed off about this too. But I just tweeted, stop picking Gyro and hitting jungle creeps.
Yep.
Like this hero is one of the fastest tempo carries in the game. One of his strengths is that he runs to a lane, he presses all of his spells, and he kills somebody, and he gets a tower. But you get to a certain point, and you can't do that anymore. And people that farm are allowing the enemy team to play to their strengths. So like if you're doing that, why are you not picking a Naga? Something that has that's stronger at a later point in the game. If you want to jungle, that's fine. There are so many heroes in Dota. We play such a diverse game in terms of play styles. You can be any type of person and be good at this game. You can be aggressive and ridiculous and space making and crazy. That's fine. You can just be a baby back bitch and just sit in your jungle and not want to fight the enemy team. That's fine. But pick the right hero for it.
Right.
Don't pick a tempo hero and play a fast tempo hero and play to a slow tempo.
Yep.
You can it's just the reason it's crazy is because it's illogical. Like people care about MMR, but then they do shit like that. It's like you can win MMR by playing to your strengths. I guarantee you, man, nobody's bad at Dota. You're just good at certain things in Dota, and so much losing just happens when people try to play something that's not in their personality.
Yeah,
like, that is a big problem.
Like, I love Phoenix, but I also love playing fast, and so I find myself sometimes being in the position where I have to be the one forcing the fights as a Phoenix, and I'm just like, what am I doing on this hero? Why am I not just playing Spirit Breaker or something like that? That just puts a target on somebody and runs at them.
Yeah, I love Spirit Breaker. That's like one of the fastest tempo heroes in Dota. He's just you just charge to every lane. Feels good. How would you break down what to do at every stage of a Dota 2 game? Like when do you recognize when to jungle, when to stay behind? If you're ahead, how to stay ahead? Okay, so obviously this is a complicated subject to broach because that's basically what pros are thinking about all the time.
Right.
Pros aren't thinking about, oh, I'm gonna press this button and then have the echo slam and chain my spells. That's all impulse. Like so much about Dota is just pure unadulterated impulse. And what people are thinking about is like, okay, I can't lane here anymore. I need to go somewhere else. And the faster you can recognize that, the better player you will be. And the pros are really fast at recognizing that.
Yep.
Not to call her out. I was playing with my girlfriend the other day, and she's like ranked 900 immortal, right? So she's by like regular standards, she's a very good player. Like what is immortal? Like Divine's like top 1% or something, right? So Divine players are really good. But she was playing Ursa, and she was against a Weaver in lane, and I think it was like 12 minutes in, she rotated out of the lane, and I like went over the replay with her, and we were just talking, and she was like asking me like what could she have done better, and she didn't lose that game for us by any means. Like I actually really threw that game, but she was looking for advice, so I was giving it to her, and I told her like at like 6 minutes, you just don't lane a Weaver because realistically, why would you subject yourself to that?
Right.
So like, what do? There's other options in the game, and the starting point is figuring out at what point you no longer want to be doing the thing that you're doing.
Yep.
That's the first point, and then after that, it's figuring out the most optimal thing that you could do at that point. And I actually don't even care about what you choose to do other than the thing that you're still doing. It's the most important factor that nobody does is just leaving the bad situation in the first place. Like if you go jungle because you don't want to be in a lane, that's good. If you go gank mid, that's good. If you go gank the safe lane, that's good. Anything is good. You just don't want to be in a cucked situation and continue getting cucked.
Yeah,
and I
there's
told
too
her,
many
I was
people
like,
who try and outplay the situation. Like, just don't overplay it. Just take the loss in the short term and win the game as a result because you're leaving that situation.
Right. The difference between like pro players and low mortal players is that pro players are not going to sit in that lane and allow themselves to be subjected to that bullshit of being an Ursa versus a Weaver. They're going to go do something else. And PPD might go gank mid, Universe might go gank the offlane. The difference between those things really is minimal. So it doesn't matter that much unless you're literally tier 1. But the starting point is you can be an amazing Dota player by just being like, okay, this is not realistic to be in this situation. We're not farming. Let's figure something else to do. Okay, that didn't work. Let's figure something else to do. Okay, that worked. We're winning now. Or it didn't work. We're losing. But if you're already losing, you just choose to do something else.
Yeah, so you want to know like potentially a more real world scenario for that is the other day I I've just been queuing for all roles because of the new patch. I'm like, let me try out a bunch of random stuff. And so I got mid somehow from the queue, even though I had hard support selected as well. I got mid, and I was matched up against a rank 2000 immortal mid player. My team didn't pick, so I had to pick third. I picked a Kunkka, and he last picked a TA. And within the first 2 waves, it was extremely clear to me that I was not going to beat this guy who plays nothing but mid, and I have played everything but mid.
Counter matchup too. Like he picked the matchup he knows is good. Yeah.
Yep. And counterpicked. And so I'm just like literally, just getting owned. Absolutely outplayed. I'll admit it. I am trash in this matchup. This guy's a much better mid player than I am. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't fucking feed. I shoved out the wave, and I went and hit my jungle camps, and he tried to dive me there, and then I would run away, and then I'd go hit some other jungle camps. I'd come back, I'd shove out the wave, and he was, 2 levels ahead of me, and, 80 CS when I had like 45 CS, and then because I didn't feed, he was stuck in this mid lane trying to take my tower for way longer than he wanted to, and he couldn't snowball. So, like, if you're a mid player up against a Smurf, just don't fucking feed the Smurf. Just don't let them snowball the game, because that's literally what they're gonna try and do every game.
That is how people.
That's how you Smurf in mid, is you try and snowball off the worst person.
Exactly. You just kill the noob and you get huge. If you're playing against a Smurf, if you're playing against like a really good player, stuns make it so they can't press buttons. Like they can slam their keyboard and nothing is going to happen if they're stunned. So all you need to do is just survive until, and if they're huge, you just stun them, kill them in one fight, and then you're back.
Yep.
In fact, you might even be ahead.
Yep.
But the problem is when you let this guy 1v5 you.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. We have another patron question, by the way, just coming in hot.
Cool. Let's do it. Serve it up.
Medieval says, I'm a patron. Question, my friend and I are Herald 5 and Crusader 1. He wants to play party ranked, but I think we do better solo. I feel like we go against parties that play together with synergy when we play party ranked, but we don't have that as one mid and another offlane. Which of us is right? Well, if you're playing duo queue, you get solo queue. Like it's the same system if you're playing duo. So yeah, I have the solution to your problem. Just queue duo. It's you get queued into solos. And if you're queuing solo, you're just as likely to get queued into parties. I guess the only problem is if you're duo, you can maybe get 3 stacks. That is the only problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like way less likely.
Yeah, I mean, you could also just try and like talk out some strategies together beforehand.
Yeah,
maybe
I would
work on your synergy.
I would definitely think of like think of strats, because I never do a queue with people without being like, okay, like what do you want to play? Oh, you want to play this? Okay, I'm gonna pick this to like supplement. It's like supplement what you want to do.
I mean, that's Dota at its core, is picking combos. So the fact that people are like, I'm going into solo queue and I'm going to pick my favorite hero and I don't care what my team picks and I'm going to solo carry this game is just bananas, because that's not what the game is about. And the fact that it's been so focused on that for like many years, it's just weird. It's just not even the same game.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. Magnus mid or carry? Both is probably fine. You probably want mid though, because I think levels do that hero a lot of justice. So, should we prioritize safe and off towers over mid? Your thoughts? Support rotation. You definitely want to get mid tower ASAP. I would say if you watch like any of the major, you'll notice that like the best teams are rotating to mid at like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And getting the mid tower first, because it's so valuable, and at 5 minutes it's really hard to defend the mid tower. Yep. So yeah, definitely prioritize mid and the offlane tower first. The enemy safe lane tower. Like still, these towers open up the largest area of the map, so you want to get those first.
AJ Reed, need help getting better but have no money for coach. What do I do? Well, the first thing you could do is hit the subscribe button and subscribe to Dota Alchemy. And the second thing you could do is you could try watching your own replays and watching professional replays from Dota2ProTracker.com and just analyzing what you see. And a lot of people, whenever we give that advice, are you watching your replays? You should watch your replays. They're always like, I don't know what I should be looking for. You will figure it out. There's no like formula, but if you just watch yourself play from not the like emotional tunnel vision perspective of playing the game, you will notice so much more about the game and you'll just naturally get better because you'll have better situational awareness.
Yep. Agreed. Split Dip says, this one's for Jenkins. 2 questions. Who's the one coach you've learned the most from and seen results from? And what did you find took me from 6 to 7K MMR? Is there a mindset that changed when climbing? Oh, Jesus. Okay, this is going to be a long one for me.
I'm going to drink some tea.
Probably the person that I've learned the most from is a fellow called Nusham. He has quite a few videos on our channel. I think like 3 or 4. Back when we were trying to like get other people involved, we've had different ideas for how we should do this channel. Anyway, he's just always been insanely good at games, and probably the most important thing that he always preaches to me, and he's criticized me of this too. Like he's watched some of my videos and be like, dude, chill out with this shit. And I appreciate that because like I think this is 100% correct. But anyway, he says pro gaming, like in general, a lot of these games are way simpler than people make it seem. Like there's a period where you learn the game, right? There's a period where you learn the game, and it is very complicated. There's a lot to it. But you play a game for 1 to 2 years, you understand almost all of the fundamentals. You know all the heroes, you know all the spells, you know denying, you know creep equilibrium. Like all of us know that. I'm not like better than you and know more about that shit than you do if we queue like 1 to 2 years. I mean, there's more tricks, and tricks definitely matter a lot. But that's a different thing. That's not like fundamental mechanics. Anyway, he thinks like what you should be thinking about in Dota is like the simple terms. Like there's a period after you learn all of the fundamentals where you start thinking about like the tricks and mechanics and shit, and it gets like really, really complicated again. But you actually just need to go back to the fundamentals, and that's why we sometimes watch like Herald replays and we see somebody make like a rotation to mid that is just some ridiculous Herald bullshit, and they're not really thinking about any of the mechanics or can their hero kill this hero or anything like that because they don't know. But the mid rotation is actually really, really good because the idea behind it is insanely good. And we get distracted by all of these complicated concepts like map pressure and securing bounty runes and laning and aggro and all of this bullshit. Basically what I'm saying and what he like taught me was ignoring all of that, all of the jargon, all of like the buzzwords, and just thinking about like, man, this sucks. I don't want to be here anymore. All right, I'm gonna go move my hero somewhere else. Something as simple as that. Like I genuinely believe that is what separates like a 7K player from like 5 to 6K players, is just like quicker at the fundamental stuff like that, where it's like you'll identify, and this is why I'm glad we had that question earlier about this, quicker at identifying that like I just don't want to be in this situation, so I'm gonna go do something else. Because how many of us have played Dota for like five or more years?
Yeah.
You know, it's like so many fucking people have played Dota for such a long time. We all know the same stuff. It's just, I mean, there's an element of like understanding matchups and stuff like that. But really, my and you asked like what got me from 6 to 7K. It's just playing heroes and knowing like when I can't do something and that I need to do something else. Like making these like decisions every 1 to 2 minutes. I say that a lot. Like these 1 to 2 minute decisions are what made me a 7K player instead of a 6K player. It's not mechanics or knowing how to do creep aggro pulls or timings or stacking or anything like that. It's literally just like overarching simple decisions about the game. Like I'm Leshrac, their mid can't kill me. I'm gonna go mid and take the tower at 5 minutes because like level 4 Leshrac as an offlaner. And most people that play Dota, I'm fucking rambling on this one, but most people that play Dota would like look at a level 4 Leshrac go mid and be like, if you've played for like 4 or 5 years, and they'd be like, why is this guy leaving his lane? He's level 4. But like sometimes that's a good rotation to make, and Herald players will identify that, and people who've played for years won't identify that. So what I'm saying is basically to get 7K, you need to be Herald.
Yeah. Cool. I agree.
Yeah, that was a really long tangent. I went on and on about that one. Another coach that taught me a lot was Lumden, but I won't get into that because that's a whole bag of worms. Like I had some like sex scandal on the subreddit for a while there. So
let's see. I have 21,000 hours on Dota 2. I've played it for almost 20 years.
I don't believe
I'm
that.
Herald 2. Okay, you're just looking for attention.
I don't believe that.
No. When's the best time to buy Midas? Preferably never right now.
Yeah, Midas is not that great. I don't mind on like Lone Druid.
Yeah.
On heroes that like actually benefit from and can play fast with the attack speed.
Yeah. How do you with the changes to Invoker not having to buy Ags anymore and just rely on levels to decrease the cooldown, do you think that Midas is more important on him than ever before?
I don't know.
Random theory crafty.
I feel like you don't buy Midas for XP anymore because the outposts just give you so much XP.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And there's all the assist XP and gold. Man, that's been cool. I've been like dying in fights, and then I'm Sand King, and I just get 5 people in my Sandstorm. They all go on me, and I die. And then my team wipes them, and I get like 1,000 gold from assist gold. It's really cool.
Everybody's a bounty hunter now.
Yep, basically. What's the meta right now? Is it generally the same as the last patch? No, I don't think. No, I don't think so. No. I don't think so. Like people are picking Nature's Prophet 5. I've been seeing Bloodseeker 5, Mag mid, Offlane Puck going travels, deathballing, but also farming jungle. It's weird.
Faceless Void is kind of bad now. He's not like bad, but he's not overpowered like he was.
He's good with Snapfire.
Yes.
He's really good with Snapfire.
But is he
that
good?
Is
he good broken because of Snapfire? Because Snapfire is nuts.
Basically, you know what? I want to make a call out here. Screw all of the people that were like, dude, these new heroes are garbage. Because I do think at the start they were. I mean, obviously they were worse than they are right now, but they were still really good.
Yes.
Like the way people are building Snapfire right now is the polar opposite of how people were building it in the first couple of days, and the win rate has skyrocketed.
What are they doing now?
People are going Snapfire Cookie max and Little Shredder max. Okay. Little Shredder first, completely skipping Scatter Blast.
Sure.
Going for the like support talents, like Fire Snap Cookie restores 250 health instead of the Scatter Blast damage, and not building as a right clicker. Like you just play to use your ultimate in team fights. That's it.
It does like 8 macro pyres of damage.
Yeah, it's really good. It's insanely good. I mean, dude,
they playing your 200 4 or damage.
5? 4, 5, and Offlane.
Cool.
Both are fine. So yeah, it's a damage per glob. It does 1,600 damage at level 1. 1,600 plus the burn DPS. It burns for 3 seconds. So 150 times 8 added to that as well. Possible damage.
Right.
So it does like 2,000 or more damage at level 1. Tell me that's not broken. Like there's some way you can use that where it's broken. But people just played these heroes like total garbage when the patch first came out.
Right.
I mean, it don't even get me started about Void Spirit. How the fuck am I supposed to catch this guy?
You can't.
He's jumping and teleporting and portaling around everywhere all the time and stunning me, and I'm silenced. All of a sudden he's Yules, but then it appears over here. Like where is this guy going, man?
Yeah,
what's going on with
that's
this?
The thing is people are building him as like a right clicker in the first couple of days, and it's like, dude, he's Pangolier. He's Pangolier Ember Spirit. Just buy a Yule Scepter, buy a Lotus Orb, and then you actually can't die. And he's
actually a way better Ember Spirit. It's ridiculous. He has a 58% win rate as the most picked hero on pro level pubs. Every day I look at this, the win rate goes up and the pick rate goes up as well. Snapfire too. Snapfire's at a 48% win rate with 2,000 picks and pro level pubs. I still see people going Scatterblast. I still see people trying to go right-click Snapfire. I still see people picking this without having any idea of how to actually play the hero. So, like, I think Snapfire is a harder hero to play well than Void Spirit.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my opinion on it. I think it's broken. It's
I think Void
insanely
Spirit
broken.
plays itself if you buy the right items. But if you don't buy the right items, then he can be a very, very squishy feeding hero.
Yeah, definitely.
By
I
the
wish.
way,
What's up?
Fighting Pandas beat EG, and EG might not qualify for the major now. They have to play NIP
I saw that.
in an elimination.
Did you see us beat Fighting Pandas?
Yes, I did. That was entertaining as hell. Fighting Pandas beat EG in 20 minutes. I kind of want to make a video of of that. And
You know what you should make a video about? You should make a video about how Jenkins Dota out drafted Owie 2000 and beat Fighting Pandas. And then by induction, technically I also beat EG because they beat EG, right?
Yeah, that's usually how it works, right?
Yeah, so technically speaking, EG won a TI. So technically speaking, I've won a TI now. So, I mean, I guess I should contact Valve and try to get my prize money.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of overdue. Maybe you're just going to get GES seed. Who knows?
Maybe. Elevated. Make a video of Jenkins Lesh versus Speed. I mean the game that I won? You noob.
Why don't we have Jenkins make that video?
I was intentionally feeding that game, by the way, because that's part of my strategy. So when you think, oh, Jenkins feeding in the early game, it was intentional. That was my strategy. So, I mean, just because you look at it, you don't understand. Oh, it looks like he missed the stun here. That's a zoning stun.
Yep.
You don't understand. That's a zoning stun that I intentionally missed in order to secure a CS or something like that, or to create fear, because there's a lot of elements of psychology to the game that, as a 7K player, so I, as an intellectual, I understand that, but maybe you guys would miss something like that, because if I wanted to hit a little Shrek stun, 100% of the time I'd hit it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's not like we haven't gotten a million views on YouTube or a million subs on YouTube because we just don't want to get there yet.
Well, because I feel like I don't want to be famous and a celebrity, because
I already have, like, every game somebody's like, I like your videos, and I'm just like, please don't talk to me.
Well, I just think, like, I'm not a huge fan of, like, Kanye West, and I don't want to, like, move to LA and have to do, like, the whole celebrity lifestyle, because I think that guy's a dick. So that's kind of, for me, is like, I feel like I would easily get 1 million subscribers, but I just don't like Kanye West. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to be Kanye West at this point. Just married to Kim Kardashian, slave to the Kardashian way.
He's the type of guy that he comes over to your house for, like, a turkey dinner. He takes all the fucking white meat.
He just leaves you with blitz.
He just like the gross, gristly stuff.
Yeah.
Zaraki, I'm for real, Dota Alchemy. Why don't you believe me? I need help. Pay for coaching. I love you guys. Are you really 20,000 hours in Herald? Dude, send me a screenshot. I don't believe that. That seems impossible.
It's too much.
I'm getting trolled here.
100%. Do we have any more questions?
I mean, and just chat. Just anything from chat.
Right on.
I'm a huge Kanye West fan. I was obviously trolling. I actually really like his new album. Have you heard it, Donnie?
I have not. I've heard, like, one song from it. I haven't really listened to him very much since what was it? Was College Dropout the first one where he blew up, or the second one?
I think so. I think College Dropout was the first one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever.
He had like 3: College Dropout, Graduation, and Late Registration.
Okay, I think like right around Late Registration is when I kind of stopped listening to him.
He's good. He went through a period of doing, like, real experimental shit, and now he's back to kind of doing, like, it's like old new Kanye. It's really good.
Right on.
He's got some good stuff, and it's got good messages. It's got heart to it.
You hear that new Mercules, Tech 9, and Hobson track?
I did hear that. Yeah, I did hear that.
Good stuff. I like Hobson.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like Mercules. I think he's
Canadian
he's
boy.
really good. Yeah. There's a good amount of good Canadian rappers actually.
Like 23 Savage on Fnatic.
23 Savage. Is he Canadian?
What?
Wait a minute. 23 Savage. Oh, Fnatic. Oh, okay. I thought you said phonetic.
No, 21 Savage is Canadian.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was born in London, England. I mean, I knew that. I thought he was based in Atlanta, Georgia.
I swear to God, he's Canadian.
I don't know, dude. I feel like he's not Canadian.
All right, maybe not.
I feel like he moved to America.
Pepega Elevated Music Choice. What are you talking about, dude? Have you ever been in our Discord and seen the tracks that I link in the music channel?
Dude, I've been listening to Denzel Curry. I love Denzel Curry.
You got to hear his. Have you listened to his ULT album, like the original one, the earlier stuff?
No, I don't think so.
You should check that out. It's really good.
I love you know, I like hip hop because it's just such a mesh of like all of these other genres where you have people who like they all have like the influence of like the Wu-Tang clans and like NWA and shit, but then they take like from like punk or from like jazz or something like that. So it's so cool. You just get this like mix of really good genres of music. I love it. I love hip hop, man.
Yeah, you know who you should definitely check out is this dude named YBN Corday. I heard about him through. Sometimes I'll just go on these like 2.5 hour rabbit holes of watching reaction videos of like there's like 2 or 3 reactors that will react to rap tracks.
Do you watch the priest? The pastor reacts?
I haven't seen that one, no.
That's a good one. He's a pastor. He's like super like white and like southern and like Christian, obviously.
But I heard about YBN Corday from this dude named Shaq. Shaq Reacts. He has got like one of the biggest reaction channels, and he was reacting to the XXL Freshman. You know that like the cipher.
Yeah,
they do?
Of course, yeah.
And I mean, these days it's like they're so bad because they just have like 2 or 3 mumble rappers who just can't freestyle, and there's such trash. And then so that was what happened is the first guy was on and he said like the first 2 bars and the reactor's like trash. He just rhymed like bro with bro, like fuck this guy. Right. On to the next one.
let me say something. Let me say something about mumble rap. We're like losing viewers here, so we're talking about rap, which I get. I get it.
The episode's over at this point.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about mumble rap. I actually get it. I actually kind of get it. I don't like listen to mumble rap, but it's like modern punk almost. It's like we give so little fucks that we're not even gonna make good music, and it's still gonna get views. Like that conceptually is actually pretty cool. I like that idea.
Okay, sure, I can understand that. Except anyway. it's awful. Except it's awful.
Sure. Anyway, but we should end this out before we go down to 0 viewers.
We should just start a hip hop podcast, me and you. That'll be our next project.
2 white guys, 1 Canadian, 1 from. Where are you from? Oregon?
Iowa originally.
Iowa.
We'll just do it like Whitey reacts. Anyway, let's take 5 more questions from chat, speed round style.
Okay. Do you have toxic cancer players in immortal brackets? Yes, it gets worse. People are more and more insane.
Yep. Why is Sanjay and Yasha such a popular item now? Because of status resistance. And pairing it with Satanic giving you like 50% status resistance.
Do you think Lifestealer can be played as support or back to core? He is not a core. He is one of the worst cores in Dota. If you want to lose MMR, you pick it as a core. Still a support.
Yep.
NP position 3. Yeah, it's pretty good.
What do you guys think is the best hard support counter to Void Spirit and Snapfire?
Silencer.
Silencer's pretty good. Hard lockdown. I think Jakiro is reasonable against both of them as well.
Sure.
Ice Path's pretty good. Does Jenkins Elevated? That's the last question we'll do. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you next episode. Bye-bye. Thanks, as always, to our patrons. And thank you to chat for all the questions this week. See you later.